everyone, and welcome to the Paranormal Hotseat. And Steve's pretending he's frozen, but this is Steve.
No, I'm doing the thing.
You're the one in the middle. I can't remember what your position was. I think you had the glasses thing.
We were supposed to pay attention to that. I think I was. Hey, you're the middle one. Here, look, I'll pop it over the top. You can have a look for those who are. Oh, there we are. I can't see us there. But, yeah, Renata's the one with the purple hair, because when I put grey hair, it was pretty horrendous, the images that it came up with. So I changed all our ages down dramatically. And, well, not that dramatic for Steve, but it was dramatic for us to try and make us look a little more decent. And I think we look like that, don't you?
Absolutely.
In our wildest dreams.
Yeah, well, so we can get there we go. Now you can see it. So there's a couple of, AI problems there, like they've got 4 fingers instead of 5, Renata spotted. That looks like you, Renata.
Yeah, it does.
Short purple hair.
It's so amazing. You'd think it was just modelled off me.
Yeah. And my boobs definitely look like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And, yeah, Steve's pretty good. Yeah, he's got it. He's worked it out.
Mine's got 5 fingers.
Yeah, you do. We don't. Women are so much more inferior.
We've got 2 boobs.
Right.
Anyway,
You lost your phalanges.
Everyone, this is the Paranormal Hot Seat, where we discuss topics that are in the paranormal realm at the moment and causing a few issues. We like to stir the pot a little bit. And I'm going to be stirring internationally tonight. I'm going to be looking at the paranormal scene in Australia compared to the United Kingdom, because I'm flippin' jealous over what my friends over there get to do in England and what we get here in Australia. Renata, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about what we see on TV. And why don't we hear of any major paranormal cases anymore, like they used to about 100 years ago?
And Cousin Steve, you're kicking off the show tonight with your topic.
Tonight we are kind of going back to a spooky Sunday as a little bit of a moment. We're doing pop culture paranormal moments because, ladies and gentlemen, ghouls and ghosts and everyone else in between, can you believe Ghost Adventures season 29 will be premiering in April? Now, the Ghost Adventures 29 seasons.
Wow.
So Zach and his band of merry fools are back on the Discovery Channel as of April 16th. Now, Ghost Adventures itself is scary, depending on many different factors. Zach famously in 2023 was accused by former employees and clients of using gangster-like techniques to shut down, I guess, the majority of the other Discovery Channel paranormal shows that were no longer that have nothing to do with him. As you can see, if you look at the current state of paranormal TV in America, if it's not Zach Baggins, it's no one. I don't even think the Ghost Hunters crew have a channel airing their shows anymore. I think they're going the way of Most Haunted and going straight to the internet. But there's been more drama behind the scenes than anything else, with the revelation that Victoria Goodwin, wife of Ghost Hunters star Aaron Goodwin, was arrested and booked on 2 charges: solicitation to commit murder and conspiracy to commit murder, after police said she hatched a plan to kill Aaron while he was filming his hit show with Zach Baggins.
How is she going to do that?
Here we go.
The
case gets deeper. Police say Victoria was messaging an inmate in a Florida prison about getting out of her marriage to Aaron when she asked, "Am I a bad person because I chose to end his existence, not divorce?"
Yeah, that would be a yes.
That would be a yes. Well, we got more. How much do you think a hit would cost in this day and age?
Oh, gee. I don't know.
I have a very specific amount. Aaron's wife set aside $11,515.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
That's cheap to snuff out a
You
person.
could sell a car.
Yeah, exactly. So this was to pay the alleged hitman to snuff Aaron out while filming in California. Police claimed the inmate was also communicating with outside hitman. And this is all found on text messages. He's asleep right now in the hotel room. I need to know what's going on. Can I get an update? Was it done? As the police say, he was only caught wind of the alleged plot after corrections officers found and seized the inmate's contraband phone at his Florida prison.
Wow. So she was dead serious about this.
Oh, dead serious. And he had no idea. Obviously, Aaron has now started divorce proceedings to his wife, who was at the time of publication of... Yeah, at the time of publication of that article, her bail was set at $100K. So, yeah, tough time for Aaron Goodwin.
They've only been married for 3 years, I think, and the wedding photos were amazing. It was like a Disneyland princess.
It was at Disneyland in the haunted mansion.
Yeah, that's right, the haunted mansion.
Yeah,
and it looked amazing. Not a cent was spared, and he looked like he absolutely adored her. And when she got the vibes that it was all going to be over, she decided to bump him off so she could get his fortune before.
Well, he had no idea. He had no idea that she was unhappy, apparently. So
God.
this is all news to poor Aaron. But I'm just thinking, in general, would she not have gotten more money anyway, like more constant money from divorcing him if they'd been like she would be getting spousal. She would have got spousal support though. Now she got nothing.
Yeah.
Now she got jail time.
She was greedy.
You can't win. But
I don't understand why she wanted to make it so public and do it as part of the show.
Well, it was while he was filming. I think it was whole plausible deniability that it didn't happen in their like where they lived or near their home, and it happened in California while they were away, while he was working with the Ghost Adventures team. So it could be anyone and anything that took it out. It just is very. It's not what you think is going to happen, really, is it? The whole Ghost Adventures crew. I mean, they have to put up with Zach all the time, but. Murder. But season 29 is hitting the ground running. There is a brand new trailer out. There are some very famous locations that they have not included before. Poltergeist House in Simi Valley, California, as well as an overnight lockdown in the Winchester Mystery House, where they're going to double bang it and do a seance to communicate with Harry Houdini.
In the Winchester House?
In the Winchester Mystery House.
Okay.
I'm sure there's some kind of there must be some kind of tangential link. I'm sure Houdini visited there at some point, or
wasn't there like a thing about his birthday or something like that? He would come through, or was it his wife?
His wife used to have a seance every year on I think it was the Knickerbocker, on the roof of the Knickerbocker. Every year, there's actually an audio recording of the last seance. It's on YouTube here. Maybe we can link it later if you want to hear it. And it's an actual the audio recording of the very last seance. She used to go every year on his birthday, and and she would go to hear a special code word which they had, decided upon prior to death.
There was Houdini was trying to contact his mother as well with the same sort of deal. But I think that Houdini, if he was able to come back, wouldn't come back because it would prove he was wrong.
Yeah, he was a bit of a stickler for his own shtick.
He was known for planting things on mediums to make sure they were caught out. He couldn't find anything. So I think there's no way on this ghosty earth that Houdini would come back. Just my 2 cents.
So there's also another little draw card for season 29. They will be investigating Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Las
They've done that
Vegas.
before, haven't they?
But not on the show. They used to have they had a spin-off show about the museum, and they would tell stories of the objects. This is an actual physical investigation, which they do regularly. They just don't televise it. So it will be very interesting.
It's going to be.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be very haunted, especially if they leave all those recordings on.
Well, this is the blurb that has come out with the press release. The investigations this season are iconic, highly charged, and very personal, said Baggins. These locations have a dark energy rooted by their deep history, including a place I've always dreamed of exploring, the Poltergeist House, incorporating special guest investigators and new investigative tactics, stirred up by a frenzy of compelling paranormal activity that we can't wait to share, including a mind-blowing photographic evidence unlike anything we've ever captured.
Ooh. Sounds riveting.
So Ghost Adventures, as I said, will premiere April 16th on the Discovery Channel. So I think Foxtel have the Discovery Channel here in Australia for the moment, anyway, until Max takes off. But yeah, the life imitating art over at Ghost Adventures and the crew.
Sorry, I'm just very quickly checking the comments there, and I just popped it into the Anne and Renata Frightfully Good page to make sure that those people over there can come on to watch. Now, we are strictly going onto YouTube for most of our stuff now, so we need to build the numbers on there. So as Cameron said, yeah, Facebook is removing live, so there's no point in us doing our stuff over there anymore. It will be on here forever. And there was somebody I was going to give a shout out to, which I will try to remember very shortly. But Cameron said, reminder to like, comment and share and subscribe to the channel for those who have not done it yet. You'll be surprised how many of you think you are subscribed, but you're not. So you've got to press subscribe and then
smash
you go
that subscribe button
and say all, because if you don't put all, you don't get notified when we go live or when the videos have gone up. All right, Renata, I noticed.
I will definitely be checking out some of those investigations, because obviously Winchester Mystery House is a big kick-off moment for everyone. Still haven't been there yet. Rude. But it'd be very interesting to see, especially how much access they give to the museum, because when I went to the museum, they do offer ghost hunting. It's a separate event, obviously, and it's a nighttime event, but they have 2 tiers where you are like in 2 different groups and you investigate 2 different sides, so there's no crossover. Or there is like a super after midnight one that goes from midnight till morning and you are just kind of allowed to roam.
They did that at the Lizzie Borden house, where they had that first investigation up to midnight, and then we had the house from midnight onwards.
It's a good plan. If you can look, folks, if anyone out there has a haunted property, it's definitely a business plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
in Australia, though.
No, they don't exist. The only ghost over here is Jesus.
That's the Holy Spirit, Steve.
Yeah, he's got a few holes
in
him.
As I was told, and it's the Holy Spirit. So there you go.
That's not true. There's tequila.
I was told
vodka.
That quite in my face a few years ago. Yes.
Not in your face.
Someone did get up in my face and say that to me. So I'm going to read a little bit of a story that was posted up on Higgy Pop. Now, Higgy Pop is a super awesome Facebook and web page, and they have a whole lot of stuff. They're actually now also offering like workshops and things that you can do on learning about ghost hunting and equipment and all that sort of stuff. They have things that are coming on board which are new stories. They're sort of showing or bringing back some of the old stories that they have been doing. So it's a great place to find information about the paranormal. I do have to say that they do a really good job. But one of the things that I noticed and that I put up on my supporters group was a story about Why don't we seem to have any really juicy stories about poltergeists that are, sort of long going? That's a really bad way to
The
say
Ed
it.
and Lorraine Warren stories, where are they?
Yeah, where has all of that gone? So I'm going to read what is here, and then I'd love to hear what you say on this. So many of us with a love for the paranormal today will have been inducted after reading about some of the most legendary hauntings of the 1970s and 1980s. And yes, we are going back to that time of Ed and Lorraine Warren. These include tales of the eerie Borley Rectory and the infamous Enfield hauntings. But these historic cases were much better documented and left more of a legacy than most modern-day encounters, which seem to be fleeting, ghostly encounters only. What makes these historical cases unique, and why do such large-scale hauntings appear to be relics of the past? Take Borley Rectory, which for several decades held the title of the most haunted house in Great Britain. And perhaps it still would have been if it had not burnt to the ground in 1939. Its haunting includes sightings of a ghostly nun, mysterious writings on the walls, Harry Price's extensive investigations, despite accusations of sensationalism, was a pioneering step in documenting the paranormal. And it was probably the very first time anybody approached it in that way, where he had a team of people who had very little or nothing to do with the paranormal come in with pen and paper and literally write down during their time there what they experienced. It's very similar to what we do on our investigations now at the very beginning, where we put people into places on the site that we are doing, and then we ask them what happened to you.
Yeah.
And so we write them all down. Then there's the Rosenheim poltergeist of the 1960s, which we have also done a True Hauntings podcast episode on, where physicist Hans Bender and his team meticulously documented unexplained occurrences around Anne-Marie Schneider.
Oh, right, that one. Okay, Yep.
We can't also forget the Cheltenham ghost of the late 19th century, investigated by Frederick W.H. Myers.
And they write whole books on it,
Yep.
tomes.
Society of Psychical Research. Moving on to the 60s, we have the Pontefract poltergeist and 30 East Drive, infamous for its well-documented phenomena. And that is true, really well documented. That's not to say that there aren't people out there writing books about ghostly phenomena. I don't think they're as widely spread as these ones are now.
There's a lot of books being written about people's personal paranormal journeys, not necessarily locations. That reminds me.
So we can still
I'll be
go.
back.
We can still go a little bit more into the
I'll put Steve back in to talk with you.
1900s, and so we go to the 1990s, and we've also done a story on this particular poltergeist, Pete the Poltergeist, in Cardiff, not New South Wales, in England, where we talked about this particular poltergeist, and the South Shields poltergeist in 2005-2006. Labelled one of the most significant cases in the last 50 years. Now, the poltergeist that we are doing now for our next True Hauntings is also a very well-documented poltergeist. Not a lot of people know about it because there was only one book ever written about it, written by the person who was the central figure, and he refused to have it reprinted. So there was only one release of it. And he said no more.
The books are as rare as now. You can't get them. And if anything pops up, then it's going for big dollars. Big dollars.
So if you go back and you remember those big poltergeist cases, all the newspapers would be on top of it consistently. There would be stuff going on every day that you knew about.
You're in trouble, Renata. Excuse me, but Cardiff is in Wales, not England.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yes, that's awful. Sorry.
Thank you,
sorry.
Kate.
I'm so sorry.
I'll spank her later for that.
I'm glad you cleared that up. But yes, there would be TV coverage, there would be media, there would be newspaper articles, and if you look
As Maddie
through,
said here, you don't see mainstream media like newspapers and TV news picking up these stories anymore. I can't remember the last time I saw a paranormal story in the newspaper here in England, and you are absolutely spot on.
yeah,
Absolutely.
So it goes on to say there were many reports that were made. These were the subjects of books. There was a level of scrutiny and documentation, which contributed to the stronger credibility of witnesses and the multiple reliable accounts that often accompanied these cases. Perhaps this was due to the fact that cases were researched and reported over a longer period of time, allowing more witnesses to come forward. Now, these historic cases often became integrated into local and national folklore, influencing tourism and local narratives, an impact less frequently achieved by contemporary hauntings, which tend not to extend much beyond transient online articles or tabloid websites. So
I got it.
Yeah, and I've now
Sorry, there's a fly. It's been driving me nuts.
Oh.
That's a brand new phone and I made it drop. I'm going to be in big trouble.
So this kind of shows a trend, a definite trend where things have changed when it comes to reporting paranormal cases, how they come out to the people, how people reach the information, and how long these cases, because you would hear about these things for weeks in the newspapers. Now, unless you are on YouTube and you go to a particular YouTube channel, you may have a multiple number of groups going to a particular site rather than one group doing a long-winded research on a site.
But they're not after research. They're after instantaneous gratification. They want their dopamine hit right there and then.
Because, classic media is dead. Newspapers are dead. Magazines are dead. People want their digestible 3 minutes on TikTok. And that's why paranormal TikTok's taken off as much as it has. And those accounts are doing huge numbers because you can pop up a video, go, oh, this is interesting. And it gets millions of views straight away.
Yeah, and then it's over. People forget about it because the next video is up. So,
and of course, you've got to be scarier than the last video to get the views.
Yes, so like I say here, like it says here, today we are quicker to dismiss paranormal stories before they gain press attention. This could be down to a heightened awareness of mental health issues and advancements in psychology. While this has been beneficial in many ways, it also means the unusual claims are often hastily attributed to psychological factors rather than considered potential paranormal phenomena. Which is, and then you've got Photoshop and deep fake, and we know that, your face can be put onto anything now and you can be made to say anything. So you can't really trust anything that you see. You know that you can put ghosts into your films or your recordings and, they can look pretty good, especially, if you're putting up a TikTok and it's only momentary. And so, what does this mean for proper research or people actually believing what they are looking at? Are all we doing is feeding the entertainment machine, or are we actually doing anything to promote and sort of garner more evidence when it comes to the paranormal? What do you guys think?
No one has long attention span to watch, all being trained to quick and instant. So that's what I said. It's that application.
It's the changing of media. Like, how many bookshops do you see around now? So you can write a book, but where do you sell that book? And how do you guarantee that book's going to get sales when there's an audiobook version of it that people can digest easier by not having to physically go out, buy the book, bring the book home, read the book, etc., etc. It's obviously the way of the future, but I don't think you can necessarily discount the interest, because how has Ghost Adventures been on for 29 seasons?
Because they've got loyal fans. We've seen what
loyal
fans are capable of.
But there is an interest, is what I'm saying. It's not like it's not like there's no paranormal interest whatsoever. It's just the way that that media is consumed
Yeah.
now.
I was going to say something.
It is still full of young men in tight black T-shirts who
my T-shirts are tight.
Who are attracting a certain demographic that is out for thrills, and they have had to up the ante with their shows in being able to find a demonic creature or entity in every single site that they explore. Do they ever actually walk out of a site to say they haven't caught a demon, or that there hasn't been a poltergeist attack, or that there hasn't been, someone that's been scratched? Has it happened? I don't know. I have not watched one show, so I've got no idea.
It also depends on what you're looking for. What I've noticed a lot lately is there seems to be a lot of, I am the devil's advocate, literally at the moment. Literally at the moment, I'm in his dwelling.
Don't look.
Don't look.
Go in the background, quickly.
So what I was going to say is that, yes, you can find those douche bro guys, but the breadth of what is considered paranormal investigation is changing as well. What seems to be a big draw card these days, and what comes across my feed a lot, is people who are buying old homes and renovating them and then finding paranormal stuff happening within the home and trying to document it. There's this one lady who claims to communicate with the spirits of her house using fridge magnets, and she'll write down a question, and then the fridge magnets, of course you don't see it happen on camera, but this is funny about that. But it's not necessarily, I think, the opening up of using something like this as opposed to relying on a major network to fund you for 24, 36, however many episodes, and the marketing and all that money that goes into stuff like that. It's opened up because there's very specific stuff. There's people that that specialize in haunted dolls. There's orbs. All of this stuff is out there if you look for it. It's just not being presented to you in a hard copy form with people going, oh, well, this is the only option, so I will read this book and I will read X, Y, and Z. Because you look at Amityville, and when Amityville happened, everyone had to have the Amityville horror because it was the Bible on what happened to that haunting. Mm-hmm. If Amityville happened today, there'd be millions of people trying to get in there with phones and it would be a different beast.
And people would be saying, oh, you've faked it, you've set this up, you've done that. And look, that is one of the reasons why we don't put our paranormal content out so much of investigations, because there's no point. It's just immediately, if you have true phenomena, it's normally very gentle and small, and people will just go, oh, you're faking it. So there is no point in putting out huge amounts of that paranormal content unless it's fitting the genre that everybody wants to watch, which is demons and witches.
But yeah, there's just other avenues, and I think that is obviously the way that it's going to go, because a lot of them are also historical channels now that will talk about hauntings and and you can get a nice little overview of something in 3 minutes, and feel like you've digested a lot of information. So I just think that books are dead.
Oh no, they're not. They're not. But I think that the people who have the best opportunity to do research are those that are connected to a site and can keep on going back and can keep on, creating some sort of list of things that occur. Whether people are coming in and being part of a tour or whether they're there doing their own research. And it would be great if people who run tours at different places would be allowed to actually go in from time to time and do their own investigation without other people there, just to get a little bit more information about what is going on. It's just that every time you walk into a site, it's all about finances and money, and a lot of people don't have the opportunity to be able to pay. And going into a person's home and researching an investigation is a great sort of, I guess, disturbance to a family. You know,
but it's
Unless
fun
they-
for the paranormal investigator.
Unless they want it, you know, there are, not in this country, obviously, but there are homes that we have visited that, you know, the families that were related have gone, okay, well, this is obviously a place of interest, B, a fantastic revenue resource. Let's turn it into a B&B. Let's do this. Let's do that. Whack a gift shop on the outside. You can get your ghost key rings. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt.
And that works in America and the UK, but not in Australia. And Stacey said, how easy will it be for them to sell their houses once they've said that it's haunted and they've documented? In America and England, it can actually probably add value to your house. In Australia, other direction.
I don't know. I think there's room in Australia for if somebody, it's just having the luck of finding a location that is active enough that if you had the money to buy it, you'd buy it, set up cameras, do that whole thing, and make it what you want it to be.
I think.
Yeah, exactly. So Amy's Crypt, they bought the cage over in the UK, so they have their base of operations now. If you know, not that their YouTube channel is gonna go to shit because they now just have one, like they have their home location, but it's something that's going to be.
Investigations.
Yeah, they'll still do everything they do. It's something else in their back pocket that they can turn into something that, like Zach did, bought a museum, filled it with apparently haunted shit, and it can sit there for the rest of his life, making money.
Yeah. I think, like you said, Steve, things have changed, and you've got to roll with the changes. And those big things that occurred 80, 90 years ago at the start of this whole paranormal investigation era, which were well documented and, you know, well looked into. How many paranormal investigators were there at that point in time? You could count them on the fingers of one hand.
And how trustworthy were the investigators?
There are thousands of paranormal investigators all vying for sites to work at. And to, you know, investigate. And so it's, we can't get back to what it was.
No,
we'll never
and I don't think you need to, because even now we've talked about Amityville. Look at how much information has come out about what actually happened at those investigations at Amityville by the investigators known as the Warrens. Doesn't that make everything null and void?
It should,
investigation
but it
point.
It should, but it doesn't. Weird.
I think people just want. We talked about Amityville when you did your live show, the True Hauntings Live. People just want that to be real. People want that kind of massive moment. You know, demon pigs. They want all of. They would love that to happen.
Good question. The people who are listening now, or if you're listening later, just put your hand up or say yes if you were a little bit gutted when you found out they were faked. I absolutely was, because I wanted so much for it to be real. Why would I want that to be real? It's probably because it's what sparked my interest. It's what drew me in, because I wanted to find out what was real. So what about you? Were you sort of gutted when you realised they're faking it?
The Amityville Horror.
Oh, all of them. Like the ones that you've been really passionate about. Like physical mediums, when I sort of realised what was happening with a couple of physical mediums, you'd sort of hang on to the hope that it might be real, because there's things you can't explain, but then there's too many things that have been proven to be fake, and you go, well, if they're fake that much, they're fake the rest. I just don't know how they're doing it. Yeah, there we go.
I think there's a lot more of interest out there. It just has to be approached very, very differently. And that approach is not going to be something that the masses are going to enjoy. It is something that people who are passionate about paranormal will want to go in and do that. But if you're going to produce something that is for people to watch, it's got to be entertaining, or people aren't going to watch it. We're not making a documentary.
Yeah,
that's what. Well, I to cross streams again. I was reading a little bit about the new Conjuring movie that's coming out, the last rites. So someone's saying, "Oh, this one has something to do with the Exorcist case." I'm like, but Ed and Lorraine Warren weren't involved in the Exorcist case. So why is a movie that's supposed to be from their case files tackling?
Because they've
The
run out of
Exorcist.
topics, Steve. They've covered everything.
Because they're legally not allowed to say Amityville because they don't own the rights to it. That's why it's never appeared in any of the movies.
Oh.
I don't know about that. The unreleased chapter. I don't even know about that one. But Daisy did have a good question. If you buy a REM pod, will it always give a reading? No. It's when we're using them, they rarely go off. And it doesn't mean that it's a ghost. It could be some sort of electrical interference, like walkie-talkies will set them off. There are some, I think it's fluorescent lights can set them off. So you have to sort of do a baseline of the area. And I always ask for a specific thing to happen, like if you are here, can you make 2 of those lights go up? Just move close enough to it so 2 of the lights go up. And if we get intelligent sort of back and forth that way, that to me is more interesting than just a brief flash, so to speak.
Even batteries dying will give you flashes on the REM pod.
Yeah, it will start to give you false readings if the batteries are not good batteries and they are struggling to put the energy into it. But also some people overextend the aerial on the REM pod. You shouldn't ever fully extend it. Always take it down by about 2 centimeters to full extension, because that can give it false readings as well. Yeah.
All right, you had your bit that you want to get
my bit
into. Yes.
Get your bit out, Ed.
First off, I'm going to show you my chest.
Oh.
Hope we like it. We're working on getting some out for you guys, but I'm going to try and soften the edges. Meanwhile,
we don't need soft edges.
My gorgeous friend Beth, or our friend Beth, put up this weekend. She's living in England at the moment, is it Tonbridge?
Mm-hmm.
And she's going off to the Ghost Club this weekend. They all get together at a haunted location and have a few drinks and do a bit of ghost hunting. And then she was going off to another location where she was going to go ghost hunting. And then she had a meeting with something else. And there's all this paranormal stuff going on in the UK. So I thought, let's do a comparison, shall we, of Australia versus the UK. Not going to mention the USA at the moment because I don't want to get my head bitten off yet again, because I'll probably say something inappropriate yet again as I drink from my Tesla mug. Don't care. Anyway, why is the UK so full of paranormal stuff, and everybody loves it? They're all into it. There's clubs and associations and schools. There's even a university there that will that runs the parapsychology, which is up in Edinburgh, which is the one I did. So the main reason, obviously, is because they've got the written history that extends back so far. It's well documented. So you also have a lot of buildings there that have been there for a long time, and they care for their buildings. They will restore their buildings. They will look at the cultural significance of their buildings and welcome people to come in. They sort of almost enjoy the spirits of the past interacting with the present day. So it's accepted that way. It's a popular hobby, and it is starting to be a form of entertainment. Well, it is entertainment there as well, but there are a lot of people in England who take it very seriously. So the British tends to have a mix of belief and skepticism, with many embracing the historical and storytelling aspects of the haunting. So the story is always important. And they have great shows over there, like Most Haunted really kicked off everything over there and made it known across the world. Then we have Australia. Now, Australians don't mind a good ghost story. They like a good yarn. But our culture leans more towards skepticism and scientific reasoning. Because if you bring up ghosts, that people imagine, a lot of people will go, oh, that's just all bullshit. You don't know what you're talking about. But they'll come up with a ghost story. They'll tell you something that's happened to them after they've spat that out. It's considered to be a pseudoscience, not really something that is taken seriously. Whereas in England, they have, they actually, oh, boring.
Sorry.
They will have professors and, highly educated people on their team to scientifically document what is happening. Over here, it's just like, oh, look, the K2's going off, must be haunted. There's no real thought behind what is going on. If you want to click up on any of those things on the side there, if you can see them, feel free.
Okay.
But, I mean, it is becoming popular in Australia, but we're having a few issues so that Renata is finding out. Now, this is not referring to our Indigenous culture. This is referring to the stupid white man culture, because we know that our Indigenous have really deep spiritual beliefs and they've got their legends and their dream time, and that is really important to them. So, anyway. The public, right? The UK public's normally more accepting of ghost hunting as part of their culture because they've got so much history. There's a ghost in every pub. There's a ghost on every corner. So they accept it. They've got castles and haunted attractions. They understand that ghost hunts bring money into their locations. It keeps it profitable for them, and they love to partner with paranormal teams and run events. There's not as much negative publicity associated with your location being haunted, and quite often it's a selling point. I know that when we go looking for accommodation when we're away, we always look for somewhere that's haunted. Australia tend to be more cautious about allowing ghost hunts because they're worried about their reputation. They think nobody will come to stay with them if they find out there's a ghost there. Some historic sites will embrace ghost tours, but it's very few. Very, very few. And the ones that are doing it right are smashing it. They're doing so well with it. But then it takes one person on the committee to go, oh, I don't like this. I think this is disrespectful. And everyone goes, oh, no, it might be. Quick, let's get rid of it. We are so behind the times in Australia. It's not even funny. Some councils and organisations limit or regulate paranormal investigations, particularly in heritage-listed sites. You have to be vetted a little bit to go into the historical sites. They don't let just anyone in, which is reasonable. The community in the UK is huge, well-established. The Ghost Club, which I was a member of for quite a few years until finances became difficult. Should join back up with them again. They, as I said, Beth was heading off to have a meeting with them this weekend and go ghost hunting. We've used some of their reports from their from the Ghost Club in our podcast, the True Hauntings podcast. They like to lean into the more traditional methods such as seances and dowsing rods and table tipping, but they do still use technology. But they like the old school because this is where a lot of the spiritualism methods came from. In Australia, there's not as many. Per capita compared to England, it would be very small. It is growing due to social media. There's mozzies in here now. What is going on? That's the flies. It's the Amityville. We like to use technology more. We like flashing lights. We like noises, all that sort of stuff. Seances here are actually frowned upon. Ouija boards are actually frowned upon, whereas in the UK, it's regular. Everybody had Ouija boards out. As long as you opened and closed the way they told you to, they were quite happy. There's also the clubs and things that I mentioned. There's the Society for Psychical Research, which has been around since the 1800s. There's structured ghost hunting courses over there tied to historical or scientific organisations. And I will give you a list of some of these shortly. In Australia,
Heaven help you try and set one up.
we started a ghost club here in Newcastle.
Yeah.
And it was going great guns for a while, and then all of a sudden it just started to drop off. We had guest speakers in, we had different topics once a month. Was it once a month we were putting it on? And it was $10, and we only used that to sort of cover the hire of the location. We do workshops and all sorts of things.
Get the family assorted biscuits.
Oh. Well, this is the problem. We didn't have a cup of tea or coffee with it. I'm sure, did we? I can't remember. That was a while ago. That's when we first kicked off working together. We do have the Australian Institute. Sorry, I've lost my. You're not keeping up with the comments there. She got in trouble.
No, I've done that one. No one's commenting at the moment.
No, it was all the way back up the top there, so we're right down to there. Anyway, the Australian Institute of Parapsychological Research, AIPR, but they don't have much influence. Now, when it's a parapsychological research, for me, that is the study of the human mind interpreting a ghost experience. Is it truly something that you are witnessing with your five senses, or is it only the sixth sense, or is it a psychological thing? So that's what is. And really, I went to one of their seminars and they had a psychic telling us how they were feeling and sensing. And I'm going, this is not parapsychology. It was an online conference. I even put in the comments, I said, this isn't parapsychology, guys. This is personal belief systems. I was sad, very sad. But there are some really good people in there. Lance Storm, I think, is doing a lot of good work. You can join that society and get a, I think it's bi-yearly little book that they put out. I then put into the algorithm, show me the amount of paranormal conventions in the UK in 2024, or conventions or that sort of stuff. And we have the UK Ghost Story Festival, the Scottish UFO and Paranormal Conference, Seriously Strange Conference, Uncanny Con, the 47th SPR International Annual Conference, the Festival of the Unexplained, Paranormal Warwickshire, Wycombe Paracon, For the Love of Horror. And then I got them, well, that's only some of them. And then I got them to list the Australian ones for 2024. And good on you, Appy, for giving it a go. They had the Oz Para Expo that was scheduled for November the 2nd, but their site got closed down. It was, I think it was the week of, wasn't it? Everybody had paid, like they'd hired all the stuff for the conference, and they got shut down.
Yeah, there was going to be a haunted house and everything. They spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
And the other thing is the AIPR mini conference, which is, I think, generally online.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was it. So I said to Beth, we are just so starved here in Australia for paranormal content, which is one of my reasons and passion to start doing the weekly something here on YouTube on a Thursday night to try and bring content by Australians for Australians, looking at overseas cases and discussing it through the eyes of Australians.
Ryans.
We are starved. And I'm not saying that we are the people that are the most knowledgeable here in Australia, but we'll give it a go. We'll give you the best we possibly can. We'll happily run some online stuff again if people wanted it. But look, really, the hankering for me to pack up and move to Ireland or England this week has been so strong. But I have to get a house that would take Renata. And Steve. And that's going to defeat the purpose. I want I want the paranormal scene in Australia to build and to grow and to be strong instead of being filled with the ones that are all just like me. Don't come near me. This is my space. Don't touch me. I'll take you down because you're competition, which is what happened to Renata. Somebody who doesn't even make their living from this. They have other jobs. We just do it for the love of it, so we're not going to charge anything, and you can come in for free, or you can bring the whole family for the price of one, which then undercuts somebody who does this for a living.
I think the thing to really notice is there's nothing sadder than a defeated porpoise.
A defeated what?
A defeated porpoise. She said it defeats the porpoise before. Oh, purpose. Sorry. A defeated porpoise was Flipper after his TV show got cancelled.
So, Lisa, you would be fabulous at doing research. You would be making sure everything was absolutely correct, and we need people like you. I know that Renata actually spoke to me a while ago, it's a couple of years ago, about properly documenting cases here in Australia. I don't have the time, and that's not my interest. I'm stretched so thin at the moment, just trying to stay on top of everything I'm already doing. Yeah, I've got my flabby arms. There we go. We are only two little old ladies over here, and
yes,
we need to do things that pay the bills. So it's all well and good sort of doing all this stuff for free, which is what our Thursday nights is all about. I'm not asking for money. I'm not saying send money or anything like that. I'm just saying
I am. Send money.
If we're going to make this work, it's got to be done professionally, and when you have a professional service, you do pay for it. So if we run workshops and things, people will have to pay for it.
You also don't go to the movies and go, I expect this for free.
Or you can go and watch the stuff on YouTube.
So if people,
paranormal
want to consume content, they should drop a little $1. $2 here, $2 there. Renata doesn't have to pay for coffee anymore. She's a senior. She's okay. We can use that money elsewhere. Drop $1 here or there, folks. Come on. Help us generate more content, because if there's money, then we can do more content. But
the
ladies do give away a lot for free. So people should be happy with it.
We know that not everyone is
fine. Not everyone's in that space. Not everyone's in that space. But when you do have events, so like when there are ghost hunts on, a lot of people go, oh, that's a lot of money. It is a lot of money, because it's not just going into these ladies' pockets either. It goes to the hire of the venue. It goes to getting it there. It goes to the equipment. It goes to all that kind of stuff. So no one's sitting back except for old Zach rolling in paranormal dosh.
Yeah, but he did the groundwork to get to that stage. Yeah,
exactly. And it took him 29 seasons. We don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, so what Philip is saying there, everything you put on YouTube or Facebook, you get knocked down all the time. This is why you don't bother putting things up. I totally get it. Same with us. Why do we even bother? Down. Because those keyboard warriors, those trolls, are nasty pieces of work, and I bet none of them have set foot in some sort of haunted location where they've actually been challenged.
They're pretty challenged usually.
Thank you. Yeah,
absolutely. You'd shit your pants. Honestly, I can guarantee that I'd probably shit my pants as well. I mean, there's always a level of stuff that can happen that you are not prepared for.
Yep. And when you're dealing,
if you want to see Renata shit her pants, if you go to the YouTube channel and
is there a video of it? Is there?
Yeah, there's on one of her investigations when we did in Collector, she shat herself on the stairs.
Oh, geez.
I've never seen her jump quite like that before. It was great. Right? That's the old Bushranger Hotel, which has
been sold. They're doing a reno. They did need the reno desperately. But everything that I read from doing a little bit of research after our conversation privately is that they would like to restore it so that it can continue as it is. So they might modernize upstairs a little bit, but they want to keep it. It's got the reputation it has. So you know, you don't want to knock it down and do all that shit.
No.
Which is good to hear from a publican in this day and age. You know.
But, you know, there are still lots and lots of places, I think, in Australia that could make great destinations for dark tourism and paranormal investigators. If they were just willing to trust people and get them in. I mean, Sydney is at the moment opening up underground tunnels for different experiences down there.
I have an issue with that.
They're getting Nigella to go down there and serve.
But they're calling it ghost tunnels.
Yeah, well, they're ghost tunnels because they're unused. That's really
but
you know that's
false advertising.
It is false.
Who wants to wander around in gumboots with Nigella Lawson? Oh, darling,
with your risotto,
darling, I'll put my risotto in the microwave.
Shane's quoted. It was the scallops from Bundanoo.
Bundanoo.
Steve can do it that way. I cannot. We've tried those. Tried that. Yeah. They don't want it. They're not interested.
Yeah,
we should go see if there's a bunyip in Bundanoo.
You cannot go with the hot poker after what happened with the massacre there. They don't want anything to do with it.
I'm not sure that they're actually running ghost tours there anymore.
I don't think they are either, to be honest with you.
If you have recently been to Port Arthur, let us know, because I do remember reading that they were going to stop doing their ghost hunts there. One place that is very, very open to having ghost tours is Norfolk Island, which we will be going to in 2 weeks' time. So we will be heading out there. And
I don't know whether we'll be able to do our lives from Norfolk, but if not, I will make sure we've got some sort of paranormal content going up on that Thursday.
The string from the tin can doesn't stretch that far.
Steve, we need a video done, and I'll do one, you do one.
I've got videos. It's just the time.
I got two done for St. Patrick's Day. I was very impressed.
Oh, she's a fancy lady.
Maxine, the issue with the platform that you're talking about there is, number one, you have to have the opportunity to be able to go. So someone has to give you
permission.
And number two, it's a very, very small area. So it would be something that you could record maybe to show, but you couldn't really take people there.
Daisy, we're looking at things like that. We've actually got some new paranormal content coming. I just need the time to edit it together. So hang tight. There is something new coming, which we're trialing to see if people like it or not. And if you do like it, we'll do more. But we won't if nobody likes it. It's got to get numbers.
Not doing nothing. You can blow it out your ass, she says.
Anyway, we should wrap up. Steve, thank you so much for beaming in from your dog sitting job.
Devil's lair.
The devil's lair. Well, the devil's away. Steve will play.
Yes.
How's Littlefoot going? And what's the other one again? Pippa?
Yeah, they're sleeping. They don't care. It's much like when I come to your house and look after your animals.
Yeah.
First 5 minutes you're there, it's all great. Then they go, oh well. Wander away. Go for a sleep somewhere.
Anyway, that brings us to the end. Thank you so much for watching and participating and talking and putting your thoughts in there. Throw some emojis in there. Make sure that
some dollars.
You come back in and put some thumbs up on it. Please make sure you're subscribed. Double check that you haven't been unsubscribed, because that does happen. And then click on that bell and make sure you've clicked all so that you can see it. That costs you nothing. And I want to give a shout out to Bernadette, who has been coming onto, that doesn't sound right, watching all of our YouTube videos and commenting on all of them from years ago. She's getting into all of them. Thank you so much, Bernadette.
Bernadette's spamming like no one's business, and we love it.
Oh,
thank you, Bernadette.
Great. It's just great. So I really appreciate it. Guys, we'll see you
On the dark side.
And be frightfully good. And just remember,
blow it at your ass.
Yay!
don't be a dickhead. All right. Bye, everyone.
Oh.